Hi, I'm Gabriel, and this is the first devlog for May 2019. And again, this is a new thing I'm trying to do. Rather than do the usual video, this time I'm trying to do another devlog, and I think we're going to do 2 of these every month actually, to keep you updated on the game and developing and everything else that I develop and work on these 2 weeks and or month/2 weeks. And so I want to show you first of all how the situation of the game is right now and what I'm working on, and today I want to talk about in particular animation a little bit, because it's a topic that is actually resonating a lot with me lately, because I'm animating a lot and I realized that I have problem animating with the current setup I have. And so you can see here there are 2 creatures and 1 character and 2 little creatures, 2 kind of little creatures that are following the character. And I actually am creating different setup for all of these creatures in Blender, and I realized that this is not a sustainable development cycle that I'm creating for myself, and more importantly, I realized that I'm getting a lot better at animating and understanding animation in general by doing all this animation with this character. And so here I want to show you a little bit what the situation is now. And I use Blender and I think it's really nice. And what you can see here is the actual setup that I use for Blender, for doing animation in Blender, and this is the rig of my character, and it's a little bit a mess. Now, first, if you don't know what a rig is basically there is a skeleton of the character, and every bone that you move around is actually moving a part of the character itself. So you can see that the character is following the position of the bones, their position inside the character itself. And now on Video Game Store you do a rig, and a rig is basically how you control these bones. So for instance, here with the hand I have the bones of the arm and the shoulder, and by moving this controller I can move around the part of the body of the character, and then I can animate all this part of the body by putting timestamp of the position of every part of this controller. And so the rig is the all complete setup of the bones plus all this controller that you create for the character. They're able to move the character around as easily as possible. And some month ago I create my rig. I think this is like the idea of this rig was to create a rig that it's mine, and I keep evolving this rig, and I was kind of happy with how this rig came out, and it's a little bit particular, and I did think I tried to invent a little bit, honestly. I didn't follow the roots completely, and the idea is that I keep evolving everything as I'm working on it. And so this is the version 3 of my rig, and I kinda like that it's able to do a lot of things the usual rig are not able to do actually. One thing I really like is that you can do some kind of JoJo Bizarre Adventure movement here that usually rig are not really able to do it. And the way I did is that with this controller here I can control how the spine is positioned, and so I can position the spine correctly to create more strange position. You can see here in a moment we can immediately create some kind of Dio versus Jotaro. I didn't saw the comic book or the anime, I have to see it. And this is something I noticed that more complex rig do not have, and I kind of realized that more complex rig are divided in the middle. And one thing that I was missing thought that it's important for me, and again I start rigging everything and start animating, and I realized I was missing something that's crucial for animating correctly. And I'm reading a lot of books about animation lately, and I realized I was missing a big point, and it's the fact that I cannot stretch with my rig. My rig was not set up for stretching. None of the two of them is set up for stretching, and this is a big thing missing from the rig. And I know it was not there, but I didn't put it there to begin with because I didn't thought it was something I was needing, because the animation I need for my game are really simple. And instead I realized that is that stretching even a little bit, if you stretch even a little bit, you add a lot of value. And so what stretching is, this is a test rig that I did with a very simple model, as you can see, just to test how the rig work and how the stretching behave with this is the basic rigified rig for Blender. And it's a really good rig, a little bit messed up. There are some things that I think are not really correctly in the idea on how they create them, and especially create a lot of original bones, and the original bones then are used to actually move stuff around, and I don't think that it's how it's supposed to work, honestly. Then those are not original, because this is the original setup. But here I'm talking a little bit too far, probably you don't get at all what this all means. And this the Rigify setup for Blender create this fantastic mechanical overlay of all the rig, that it's able to do a lot of stuff that it was not in my rig, not at all, and it created a lot of good and fun stuff to do. And stretching is this thing, by the way. Stretching is the fact that if you stretch the arm stretch and it deforms itself, and it was not in my rig. This is something very important to create animation. And let's see if there is an animation playing here. Yeah, you can see how this simple punch animation it did, it's really cartoony, but it gives a lot of value. You should see how the animation in Overwatch work to understand why stretching is important. But the point is that you don't notice immediately, but it stretches a lot. It's stretching really far away in a non-human way too, honestly. And there are games that do not do this. A lot of games does this kind of stuff. Even games are trying to simulate reality. Again, Overwatch is very cartoony, so it's okay that Overwatch is doing this stuff, but if you see what Overwatch is doing, is going crazy with it. And now this is important for me, because as I'm creating all the assets for my game, I realized that, and this game is going to be full of units, I realized that I need to be able to create unit very fast, and instead right now I'm creating a rig for every character, and this is not okay. So at this point I'm actually revising how the whole rigging and creating the character in the game works. I even keep in mind a little bit how the level detail I have to achieve for the game itself, because for instance for this red creature with the red claw, they actually have the finger in the hands, and so that's a level of detail that I don't need. And they also have the skeleton to move the finger, and so I have to revise a lot of this stuff, because the game itself changed a lot lately, and so I have to keep up and changing everything back. And so lately this is what I'm doing. Basically I'm trying to study a little bit more complete rig setup, and I will redo the rig, and I will base different unit in my game on the same rig. So I hope you like this rigging tutorial. And it's not a tutorial, but it's an explanation. And before we cut off, I want to somehow talk about some news really quickly. And because there is an important thing happening now, which is a walkout. I didn't even know it was a thing. Walkout, I thought it was a strike, because this looked like a strike, but they call it walkout, I don't know why. And Riot is actually doing a walkout to protest against a situation that they have, legal situation they have, because a lot of people in Riot are not happy now Riot itself is managing the company, and the fact that they made them sign up a contract that in which they say that they cannot then sue Riot, or that they have to go to a private agreement with Riot to resolve the situation when it comes to very important topics like sexual harassment and all the Me Too movement. It's actually influencing the video game industry a lot too. And so there is all this walkout happening, and they're actually joining Google that did this sometimes ago, and they actually resolved the situation. So I hope they will resolve to changing their contract. And unfortunately, this is the consequence of doing capitalism in pushing too hard capitalism, I think. And by the way, I'm not sure, but I think that this is Yi, the Korean master of drawing. I don't know if you know him. It really looked like him. I didn't know there was this wonderful thing outside Riot. It's really cool. And finally, I want to talk about this guy here. Let's see if we can find it. Randy Pitchford. This guy here, and let me tell a thing, everybody hates him, and I actually like him. And this is actually the guy behind Halo for PC. And Halo for PC is one of the games that got me into game development, so I honestly I hold him a lot as a game developer, and he's a weirdo. There's no doubt about it. But what I want to talk about, and what people think are missing, they're missing the big point, is that he's a weirdo, and he always complains a lot on Twitter about a lot of stuff, responding poorly to a lot of people, and people are really mad at him now. But what people don't get is that he's also the CEO of Gearbox, and he's managing the Borderlands franchise a lot. And in a weird way, all this situation he's creating is actually a good thing for Borderlands, unfortunately, because there is the review bombing, but it's not working anymore for how Steam changed it anyway. And people got that, they're mad at him and they're mad at Borderlands. Okay, I think too much mad, and he made the situation worse. But bad advertisement is still advertisement, and this is something I think people are not getting, and they don't keep in mind in this kind of situation. But he is, like, the point is this: 600,000 followers. This is the point. Like, he's throwing a lot of shit on himself, but it's helping the company, and it's channeling all the hate they're getting. And he's able, fortunately for him, to somehow manage the hate and transform it into bad press. Again, everybody's talking about Borderlands now. And what I would like is for people to, again, I like Randy Pitchford, but I would like for people to fall a little bit less out of this somehow troll behavior that he's having, and he always had, honestly. And he's responding seriously to what is happening, but he's trolling too, because he knows he's going to create this kind of situation. And in the presentation where you present your game and say there are no microtransactions, you don't make mistake in the same way he did mistake. It's more easy that he prepared this kind of situation, that he said there are no microtransactions, but again, he knows what microtransaction is, so let's not fool ourselves in thinking that he doesn't know what they are. He knows what microtransactions are, and there is the simple concept that you pay additional micro fees inside the game, and everything that follows under that is microtransaction. He played a lot out of this, and he's doing this on purpose. Let's not fool ourselves. It's hard to believe that he's not doing this stuff on purpose. He is, and everybody now is talking about Borderlands 3 because he's trolling a lot. And so what I would like is to people to troll a little bit less, especially if you are press. If you are press, again, it's full of indie developers that want your attention, and you are spending your resources in this way. And kudos for him, honestly. Again, if he's able to do this stuff, good for him. But again, Game Informer, that he fought a lot with Game Informer, and again, by responding to Game Informer get even more attention out of him, and he knows what he's doing, and I like that he knows what he's doing, and he trolls a lot, and it's really fun that people are actually following this behavior from him, and I just hope he's doing his thing, and it's good at doing his thing, but people should actually realize he's doing a thing and he knows what he's doing, and you should not fall for this kind of stuff as easily as this guy wants you to fall for it. So I guess it's everything for this vlog, and I cannot do a lot of video with the same care that I'm actually putting a lot of care in the video I do usually, so I think I'm going to do more of this kind of stuff because it's easier to do. I just have to record the audio and that's it. So I think that's everything for today, and the game is coming out really well anyway. The game is... I never actually talk a lot about the game, but I have really strong hope because this is something that it didn't come out gameplay wise at all in the last decades, and it's strange that nobody did it. And I honestly think nobody did this because it's hard, and it's hard because you need to create a lot of assets, you need to create a lot of stuff, you need to have a really good game designing, but these are all challenges that I'm really into it. So look forward for the game because it's soon going to be playable, and maybe you're going to be able to play it too if you want. So that's everything for today, and thank you for listening, by the way. I'm trying to do this stuff and it's hard, and with your support I can actually keep doing this, and I can actually start to doing this even better. And I hope you like the content I'm creating, by the way. See all the other videos and are really fun. And I should talk like this more often, I guess, too. It's more personal, and there is a person behind the game, and this person is talking with you, and I'm able to talk with everybody that wants to know something about the game in this moment, because nobody still give a shit, basically. So if you give a shit, contact me and talk with me, because I'm here responding to you. Thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and see you in 2 weeks, I hope, with another dev vlog and another video next week. Bye bye.